Hi. I want to talk today about two things that are near and dear to my heart: AC power and bread. Bread? Well, I know that's probably tough to put the two together, but they are actually very similar in my opinion. I'll tell you why. Both of them have conventional counterparts, and both of them have high-end counterparts. So let me explain that to you. If you take a product like Wonder Breads, the kind of the cake breads that we all grew up with, and maybe our mama cut off the crusts for us and made these little cake bread sandwiches. That was great when you were a kid, but at least from my perspective, when I got older and started going to Europe and discovered real handcrafted artisan bread, it changed everything about the way I eat. And when I first heard power conditioning with a conventional filter, a passive filter, it cleaned up the sound, but it wasn't doing what I wanted it to. It didn't really change the experience. And it wasn't until we invented the power plant, the regenerators, that things really started changing. And so when I look at these two subjects, Wonder Bread versus artisan bread, passive power filtering versus power plants regenerated filtering, and reconstructing of the waveforms, the differences are night and day. One's high-end, the other isn't. It's just conventional. And that's what I want to talk about today. So power plants take power that is coming out of the wall in raw form, convert it to DC, and then regenerate brand new power. And when you do this, you fix all the basic problems that are found in our homes' wall sockets, problems that cause us to have less than stellar sonic performances. When I listen to a live performance on my stereo system, I want it to sound like I'm actually in the room. I want to hear all the harmonics, the reflections off the walls. I want it to sound like I'm in the room. With a power plant, that's what happens. That's the experience that I get. With a conventional passive filter, I get cleaner sound, but I don't experience the live sound that you would normally get if you were sitting in a live venue. Power plants do that for you. So when you listen to a system with a power plant, powering the entire system, you experience the music in a live sense. And just like this bread, as I break off a piece and start to enjoy, this is high-end, and power plants are high-end as well. Let's take a look and see what's inside of a power plant while I enjoy my bread. Thanks. So this is a power plant. That's what's inside of a power plant. You can see it's got heat sinks, transistors, capacitors, all the electronics that make a power amp work. This particular unit goes inside of a P3 or a P5, and this big mother goes inside of a P10. In fact, this is only half of what goes inside of a P10. Same thing, along here you've got the transistors and the capacitors and electronic components that make up a power amplifier. A P10 can do up to about 1,500 watts, so it's a rather large power amplifier. A P5 and a P3 can do between 1,000 and 1,200 watts. A lot of it dependent on this. This is the power transformer for a P3, and this is the power transformer for a P5, and this sucker is the power transformer for a P10. Extremely large, lots of power, but very, very different than a traditional passive power conditioner, like this. This is a single zone passive power conditioner. It's a good one. It goes inside of the power base, and for cleaning the little bits of cell phone noise, interference from radio stations that comes in, this is a great device, but it's not going to give you the same experience that you get listening to music with a power plant. As I explained earlier, with a power plant, the experience you get is actually being in the space where it's recorded. And that is such a big deal. You really need to hear that for yourself. Isn't this just the coolest picture you've ever seen of Paul McCartney? A good friend of mine, Chalky Davis, took this, and there's not many of these in the world. The reason I show it to you is that if you want to hear what McCartney has to say musically on your system, or if you want to get the most out of anything on a disc, whether it's a vinyl disc or an optical disc like this, you need perfect power. And the only way you're going to get perfect power is with a power plant. You have to regenerate new power that's low impedance, regulated, free of any kind of distortion. And only power plants provide that. Power conditioners simply cannot do that. I would encourage you to take one home, give it a try, and see what you've been missing and see what I'm talking about. You won't fail to hear the difference. I promise. Thanks for watching.